Hello there, my name is chunkedname, or you can call me Chunked, and it's no secret that I love rhythm games. Some may call my love for rhythm games to be an obsession, but I digress. 1 year ago though, my love for rhythm games wasn't as strong as it is today, but the journey I've been on has been wild, to say the least. So, welcome everyone to hey, this is Future Chunked. This video has been in the works for a while, and I just haven't gone to it. But a lot of things have changed since this video, and most of the info in this video is pretty outdated, so just kind of bear with me, I guess. Bear with Pause Chunked, and I'll explain some things at the end of the video once everything's done. Back in 2022, I used to be someone who mainly played Taiko Assassin, but not very well. I could clear like 7-star hard charts, and that's pretty much it. The game was fun, but I wanted to have a challenge. That's when I heard about a tournament that was going to happen at my local arcade. My state's rhythm game community was split between people who play Taiko and people who play DDR. And clearly I was in the former half. After losing out in the Taiko bracket, as expected, I was hanging around my local arcade just talking to some of the people there, and then I decided to glance over to the DDR cab. And I don't know what I saw, but what I did see fascinated me. A couple days passed and I started thinking about that song I saw, and found out that the song was called Max 300. And after I found out what the song was, I just knew that I had to play this song. I had to clear it at all costs. And so, I decided to start my 1-year journey into playing DDR. A couple months before I started off properly, I got something called an e-amusement pass, which is a card that you can scan into the game to save your scores and play special events with new songs. It also allows you to personalize the game to your liking, and in Japan, you can even pay for your games with it using a currency called Paselli. Once I got this card and made my account, I had to think of a name. So, I decided on the name Thick Boy. Yeah, I don't know why. I should probably change that to Chunked, but if I am going to change it, I'm going to have to pay for a subscription. But anyways, after I set my name to that, I knew I was set. My main goal... Fuck. Okay. My main goal at the start was to clear max 300 on the song's expert difficulty. Now, DDR songs are usually split between 5 difficulties, alongside a level which is between 1 and 19. Beginner is used for the easiest charts for a song, and usually has a level between 1 and 5. Basic is slightly harder than beginner, but still fairly easy, having a level between 4 and 10. Difficult is used for charts that are moderately hard, but not to the point where it's too challenging, appealing to intermediate players with a level of 7 to 14. Expert is used for hard charts for a song that can throw some pretty note-dense patterns, while still not being too impossible to clear, in most cases. The levels that this difficulty can go up to range from 13 all the way up to 18. Most songs don't go above this difficulty, but for the ones that do, there's Challenge. Challenge is the highest difficulty that a song can get, with a level of 14 all the way up to 19. Challenge has songs such as When I was first starting out, I couldn't clear anything above an 11, and after going to an arcade and playing Max 300 on Expert for the first time, I realized that I was too out of shape for it.
Yeah, no shit.
Before I tried it for the first time, I actually watched some YouTube videos about the chart. The main channel that I watched to learn the chart was Yuesin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This channel has a bunch of videos for song charts of DDR, so if you ever want to practice without going to the arcade, I recommend watching their channel to just find out what songs to play. So, at this point, I realized that if I was gonna get good at DDR, I was gonna have to play and listen to other songs and play their charts in order to get good. And so, I looked through about like 20 videos of songs from DDR just to find out what to play the next time I went to the arcade. And like, just for a quick second, I want to talk about the Konami originals in DDR because, good god, it is one of the most underappreciated parts of the entire game. With casual players, they mainly gravitate towards the songs that they already know. Stuff like King, Party Rock Anthem, Alone, Megalovania, etc. But the original stuff that Konami makes in commissions for this game, oh my god, it is so good. I'll give you guys like a quick sample of some Konami originals from across all of Konami's rhythm games, just for you guys to hear.
수가
Most rhythm games are great because of their original songs, so I recommend you to listen to some of the originals for the rhythm games near you. Stuff like BEMANI originals for DDR, Namco originals for Taiko, and Geki Chumai for My Mind Chunkedname. But back to what I was saying though. At this point, I had a list of songs to practice. Some of the most notable songs on my list at the start were Sunkissed Drop, Endymion, Beachside Bunny, and of course, Max 300. Sunkissed Drop's main gimmick is that the expert chart is mainly crossovers. Crossovers are a pattern that's fairly used in DDR songs. They look like this if you're wondering. But chunked, you might ask, how the hell can you do a crossover? Alright, so you start off with your right foot on the right pad. Alongside this, your foot being on the left panel. Then once you hit right and down, you move your right foot to the left panel. Sort of like twisting your body to hit the other panel. Same thing can be said for doing it on the other side, going from left to the right panel. I'd say that this song is hard to get right if you're using a lot of stamina on just doing crossovers, especially once you get to the ending bit, but once you get past that, the chart's pretty fun to play, especially if you can do the spins in the middle of the song. Beachside Bunny is a song that's pretty heavy on jump streams. Jump streams are a pattern that is a jump, which is 2 notes at the same time, then another jump straight after or a note after a jump, followed by another jump. This chart's expert chart is one of the harder 15s that I've ever played, mainly if you're still getting used to jumping. Endymion is... Sorry, Endymion is the hardest song in DDR so far, with its challenge chart being one of the hardest 19s currently out, with no dense patterns and fast speedups. Thank fucking god I'm not gonna do that. I just went with the difficult because, you know, yeah. I mean, it's a 15, but it is pretty hard though. Still hard, but not too hard. And now, let's talk about Max 300. Max 300 was the first ever boss song in DDR, and as a result, the expert chart was brutal to clear, with this pattern at the start. The minute that I saw this, my brain pretty much just shit itself. Like, I didn't know how I was gonna hit that. Then at the end, they throw this stream at me, and I was still comprehending that first stream. But then you're expecting me to do that last bit? Yeah, no. Yeah, as you can tell, I was very confused on how to clear that, but all I knew was that I just had to practice. Though, with my track record of visiting the arcade being like once a month, I knew I wasn't going to be able to practice at the arcade that often. That was until 2023, where due to the campus that I was studying at being a 5-minute walk from the arcade, and with my lessons being unbelievably short, I got to play DDR 3 times a week. And with my list being fuller than ever, this is where the grind really began. On February 9th, 2023, I was able to get 2 clears in the same set. The first one being Sunkissed Drop, and the other being Cerner's Perfect Math Class. Cerner's Perfect Math Class's expert chart is a pretty run-of-the-mill expert, with a couple crossovers that I completely avoided by just stepping on the pads normally. Then 5 days after that, I cleared 13 other songs. Yeah, I'm surprised at that too. Those being 1998, Mermaid Girl, Lesson by DJ, which is a shitpost pick that I'll talk about later, King, Delta Max, Red Zone, Graduation, Alien, Dropout and its non-stop remix version, Bag, True Love, and Something Comforting. I'll do a rapid fire of the most notable songs from this session. True Love is... I think that's all I need to say about that one. Delta Max is known for slowly speeding up from 100 BPM all the way to 573 BPM, causing you to read slow at the start, then reading really quickly at the end. This is also where you can mess around with the modifiers of the game to help you play better. By pressing 9 on the keypad on the side of the cabinet, or by holding the start button when selecting a song, you'll have access to a few modifiers. Most of these aren't important, but the main one that you should focus on is the speed modifier. This allows you to set the BPM to the speed you like the most. The BPM that I see people read the most is from 450 BPM to 550 BPM. The way that you can calculate this is by this simple multiplication. The BPM of the song times speed mod equals reading BPM. You should get as close to the BPM you read at as possible. For example, I read at 550 BPM and I want to play a song that's at 175 BPM. So 175 times mod should equal somewhere close to 550. If I went with 3x, it would be a bit too slow. If I went with 3.5, it would be way too fast. If I went with 3.25 though, yep, that's perfect. Don't be afraid to go a bit above or low depending on your preference. Just don't go too overboard or you have to deal with something like this. Bag is also pretty well known for being the most dog shit chart ever. I'm not saying this about the expert chart, that's perfectly fine. The challenge chart though, holy fuck, this sucks. The challenge chart was the original expert chart back during DDR Extreme. The reason why it's so bad is because the notes weren't properly quantized. That means proper note sync, by the way. They fixed it in a later version and put the new chart as the expert chart. But for some fucking reason, they kept the old chart and put it as the challenge chart. Oh, but that's not the worst of it. Cause the song is at 65 BPM, meaning that if you play it at 1x, then you have to attempt to read this. Yeah, fuck that. And now let's talk about Lesson by DJ, which was the shitpost pick that I was talking about earlier. Some of you may have played this when you play DDR for the first time, because it is the first song that you play. It is quite literally the tutorial of the game. It also tells you this one important tip that most people don't listen to.
Place your feet on the left and right arrows. Don't return your feet to the center. Just keep standing there.
This is the most important bit of info you will ever receive when it comes to DDR. If you hit a note and then put your feet back into the center, you won't be able to maneuver as well when you're playing high level charts, because when there's patterns like these, yeah, good luck keeping your feet in the center for that one. So yeah, if it wasn't obvious enough already, I'm not gonna talk about every single song that I clear, or else this video will be like an hour long, and not the fun type of hour long. So I'll only be talking about my achievements for the rest of the video. After a month of playing low level songs ranging from 12 to 14, I decided to try a 16. I honestly didn't know what I was thinking when I was actually going for a 16 for the first time. And you know, of course I failed out. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, so I skipped from level 14 all the way to level 16. And like a couple days later, I decided to play a 15 to see if I was actually mentally prepared for it, and surprisingly, I did not clear it. After collapsing after playing that and my set being almost done, I just said fuck it and I decided to play max 300, knowing full well that I wouldn't clear it. I knew I was destined to fail out, but I was okay with going out with a bang, and
This groove is on. Stage clear.
I did it. I cleared max 300. After a month of playing, I have finished my goal. I think I screamed during that session after I was done, but I wasn't properly done. Sure, I finished my main goal, but I wanted to go further. And what I found was max 300's younger brother, max 360. When I found out about max 360's expert chart being rated at an 18 and that the chart was pretty much just max 300, but harder, I knew that I was prepared to make this my new goal. A month after I cleared max 300, I got a score of 525k on max 360. Then a month later, I got a 581k on it. Then a 601k. These were good scores to me, considering that I just skipped all the way from 16 all the way to 18, but I had 4 weaknesses that were preventing me from clearing max 360. The first of which was accuracy. My accuracy was not good on higher level songs, and I knew that too. On lower level songs, like the one I started off with, I could get great full combos fairly easily. Not perfect full combos because my act just sucks that much. As you can see from these scores, I hit way too many greats when I should be hitting more marvelouses and perfects, either by hitting too late or too early. My second weakness was foot speed. Near the end of the expert chart, there is this long stream of notes that will require you to trill and staircase. This is especially hard because you're doing this at 360 BPM. Also the fact that if you don't have enough stamina near the end, you'll slow down and just collapse on the pads like a piece of bread that's standing upright. Speaking of stamina, that's my third weakness. Since I skipped all the way from 16 to 18 and I barely had any experience with any note intensive patterns yet, I didn't have the energy when it came time for that final ending stream. And my final weakness, which is something that you guys should learn from me, please warm up and prepare before you play. Eat lunch before you go and play. Stay hydrated before you start your set. Stretch and play lower level charts before you get to the hard stuff. I mean, sure, you can brute force your way to clearing high level charts by doing them first, but once you do end up doing that, all of your energy pretty much just went into playing one song, and if you wanted to go for more games, you'll basically be tired out and die like during like the first couple seconds. So for 4 months, I was trying this song anytime that I went to the arcade, and yeah, I always died on the same part. After a bit, I pretty much just gave up and decided to try some other charts. One of them was Egoism 440. Its expert chart was an 18, just like Max 360, but when I played it, I got really close to clearing it. I was tired out for sure, but it looked doable. So just a day later, I tried it again, and when I did, it happened. My first ever level 18 clear. When I cleared it for the first time, I was baffled. How did I clear this song? How did a song that I brute forced in 2 days, how was it easier than a song that I've been playing for 5 months? I was in shock, but nonetheless, an 18 clear is an 18 clear. Then a day later, I cleared another 18. This time it was a song called B, and I mean, okay, look, the chart isn't bad, but just look at this bit. But apart from that bit, this was just another really easy 18 clear. But you know what? I was proud of it. 2 18s in like only a couple days. Then, one day, I was walking to my arcade after eating lunch and thought to myself, okay, try Max 360 once today. I was a bit hesitant to try it because of how many days and months I've spent to clear it, but by that point I haven't tried it in like 2 weeks, so I might as well do it. I played the song, got through the parts that I knew really well, but then I got to that final ending stream, and I already knew that I was just ready to give up and accept my fate. But something different happened. Something unexpected.
300 combos!
I got past that fucking ending stream, and I cleared the fucking song. Okay, a funny thing that happened after I cleared the song was that I screamed so loud that the technicians and staff that were there, like, they just came out of the staff room just wondering what happened. But that aside, I had defeated the beast that I've been working to defeat after 5 months. Oh yeah, funnily enough, I decided to play a little song called Dead and Groove Radar Special straight after I cleared Max 360, thinking that I wouldn't be able to clear it. But I did, and I will never do that again. Because this chart sucks. You know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna talk about this chart right here. The chart was introduced in DDR Supernova 2 and was designed to fill up the song's groove radar, which is a radar that shows you what you're getting into before you start a song. And when you start off with the song, it throws stuff like this at you. And then at the end, the song speeds up, which means that if you can't read fast at the end, you have to put up a modifier called Sudden Plus, which hides the note with a lane cover. Then before you get to the fast bit, you have to step off the pads, press the button to remove the lane cover, and then you play the rest of the song like normal. God, I fucking hate this song. Anyways, this is where you think the story ends, right? Chunked plays high level charts, achieves 2 of his biggest goals, and that's the end of the video, right? Well, that's where you're wrong. A week after I cleared Max 360, Konami announces Babylon's Galaxy, a brand new song unlock event for DDR. Mind you, this was big news because the last big song unlock event was released during DDR Ace, back in 2016. I'll spare you the details of like the backstory of this event, but pretty much, each song is represented by a frozen star. To unfreeze the star, you have to clear the song. Once you clear the final star, you get a cutscene that shows the final 3 stars hold a secret by clearing their newly unlocked challenge charts. Once you clear all 3 songs again via their challenge charts, you unlock the final song. Ho.
This is no dream.
When I first found out about this song, I was freaking my shit out at the thought of playing this song. Okay, pause, not like that. I actually got to play the event while I was in Melbourne for a concert, which, actually, I'll do a quick slideshow of images from my trip right now. Okay, anyways, yeah, back to the point. Yeah, I was excited, but when I found out that I needed to clear, like, 6 other songs. And not only that, but the songs have these hard gauges called flares that will fail you out if you don't get above a certain score. I just wasn't bothered. I didn't want to go through the struggle of it. This is also during the time where Ho only had a challenge chart, with the chart being rated to 19. The chart was also locked behind the highest flare, Flare Gauge EX, where you have to get a score above 990k. Even top players weren't even able to clear it, because there was just no guide to it. You literally had to sight read a chart that you haven't played before. A couple months pass and Ho's restrictions get nerfed, with the song having all difficulties from beginner and that the flare gauge can just be completely removed, so you can play it like a regular chart. When I heard about the nerf, I finally decided to play the lower level charts of these songs to get to Ho. I was gonna do a thing where I was gonna talk about the songs, but seems like just a bit of extra baggage that I just don't want to put in. Oh my god, thank you so fucking much. But yeah, anyways, I cleared the 3 songs, and before I knew it, I got to Ho. And at that point, I didn't know what the expert chart looked like. All I knew was that it was an 18. But nonetheless, I tried it out. And
they're cheering for you and only you, baby. Dance, revolution. Stage clear.
Yep, I cleared Ho on expert by only sight reading the chart. And as of now, that's where my story mostly ends. I still regularly play DDR, but not as often as I did last year. I go like once a week instead of 3 times a week now. You also might be saying, Chunked, have you cleared a 19 yet? Which I know none of you have said, but in case you are, I have not yet. What do you expect from me? Welp, this video aged poorly, I think. Hey, it's Future Chunked. This video has been in production since like May of 2024, with the events of the video starting like February 2023, so technically it's been 2 years since I started playing DDR, but a few things have happened during the making of this video, so I'd like to tell you what happened during the time since I finished the script. If you don't wanna watch this bit, just here's a timestamp. Do be warned, it's gonna be a really interesting story that I'm gonna be telling during this bit, but again, if you wanna skip, here's a timestamp. Okay, you good? Alright, so first off, you may have noticed that the video segments with me playing DDR are a bit different, with some footage coming from me playing on a white DDR cab and some of me playing on a gold DDR cab. The reason I'm telling you this now is because when I finished the script for this video and finished recording, a couple weeks after doing so, I got invited to the grand reopening of my local arcade, and when I walked in there for the first time, the white cab that was there during my entire journey was gone, taken away to a different arcade. All that was left was just a couple new rhythm games, but they took away the... Wait, what the fuck is that? Okay, so like I hinted before, this is a gold cab. It's functionally identical to a white cab except the fact that it's gold, and that's pretty much it. They literally took like all the special features out of the recent version of DDR. Speaking of the recent version of DDR, you may notice that the game looks a bit different. You know, a bit more green, flat, bland, whatever the fuck you want to say. This is because Konami released a brand new update to DDR. Konami releases a brand new DDR mix every 2 years. The version you've been seeing in this video is called DDR A3 and was a part of the Ace trilogy of DDR mixes. Trust me, I would be here all day if I were to talk about like every single DDR mix, so here's literally all of them. Actually, before this new version came out, I apparently played 750 games worth of DDR A3 during its entire lifespan, which costed me that much money. I swear I don't have an addiction, but anyways, this new version called DDR World has a bunch of new things, such as Constant, which makes the notes fade in to make it easier to play certain note-dense low BPM charts, which removes the hassle of sudden plus on Dead End Groove Radar Special, thank fuck! Speed can now be changed in 0.05 increments instead of the old 0.25 increments of the earlier versions, which makes it easier for you to change your speed to whatever you like. Speaking of speed, you can now see what BPM your speed equates to. No more calculators! Flares are now default from Babylon's Galaxy. They swapped out the announcer for a brand new one, which is kinda good because they've been using the same one for like 16 years.
First stage!
First stage!
They added more licensed music, like Mesmerizer, Medicine, Rabbit Hole, etc. They removed Ariana Grande's No Tears Left to Cry in A3, then announced that the song was coming back in DDR World 4 months after its removal, so that was useful. Welcome back, Queen. They did remove Lesson by DJ though. Rest in peace, a lot of songs got their difficulties re-rated. Endymion's difficult chart and a whole lot of other 15 difficult charts were changed to a 16. Music videos used to be minimized in early versions of World, but now you can change it to make them fill up the entire screen. That first part actually was my biggest nitpick with DDR World. So glad that they fucking changed that. They announced a new song unlock event called Galaxy Brave, but no news has been announced for it yet. So yeah, I don't really know when that's gonna happen. Imagine if news of it gets announced right after this video. If it does, Future Chunk cut in with like something dumb that shows the release date. I was gonna nitpick about this version, but the game's looking pretty good after some updates. Another feature that I forgot to talk about in the main video is the rival feature, which I thought was kinda useless to mention, but it's a pretty nice feature, so I'm gonna mention that now. Basically, for every song, you're able to see your highest score, machine record, which is the highest score on the cab that you're currently playing on, area record, which is the highest score in your region, and world record, which is self-explanatory. Alongside these, you can set 3 rivals to your account, which is sorta like DDR's version of a friends list. Before a song, you can choose out of these 6 scores to basically score against, and the game will throw up a pacemaker, which shows you how more or less you scored against your rival's score. It's great to have a tiny bit of competition when it comes to this, to see if you can score more than your friend. By the way, this is just an excuse to show you guys my rival code, so here. And since this video has been in the works for about like a year at this point, and since a lot of stuff has happened, I want to talk to you guys about my greatest achievement.
Wario Land 4 on the Game Boy Advance.
Sometime in September, I was trying to attempt my first 19 by clearing the challenge chart for Roller Quest, which is regarded as one of the easiest 19s in the game, but no matter how many times I played it, I just couldn't clear it, with my biggest weakness for the song being my foot speed. So I took a small break to gain my stamina back, and I remembered another song that had a 19, Paranoia Revolution. I got this song recommended to me by a friend, who also recommended me to use the left modifier, which rotates the chart 90 degrees and makes it easier, I think. So I put a credit into the machine and tried playing it, and I got a 678k fail, right at the end before the ending stream. It was a punch in the gut, but I felt something awaken in me. And no, it was not my homosexuality. So I tried playing the song again, then again, then again, until I had played the song about 17 times with no clear. And at this point, you'd think, oh, Chunked, are you gonna do an 18th clear? Yeah, no, I went home. I was too tired, I was too eepy. I played DDR a couple times after this, with no luck on Paranoia Revolution, but it was on the 20th of October, 2024, when everything changed. When I walked into the arcade, I felt a different energy awaken in me, and I decided to play Paranoia Revolution again, as my 3rd song of the day. I was fully expecting myself to fail out, but I noticed that wasn't the case. I got past the note dense ending, but my life gauge was almost depleted. My feet were on the up and down holds, and all I needed to do was 1 trill. If I missed even 1 note, I would have failed out, and this attempt would have been done for. And so, I took a long breath, and attempted to hit the final notes. And with the tone that I'm speaking in, you already know what's about to happen.
Stage clear.
And just like that, I had done it. My first ever 19 clear in DDR. I was finally up on the level that I was trying to get ever since my journey started. I had finally made it. Now, before the video ends, I'd like to talk to you, the viewer. If this video is making you think, oh boy, I really want to try getting good at DDR too. Well, first of all, welcome to the club. Secondly, you may be wondering how or where to play DDR near you. If you want to play DDR in an arcade, you can try finding a local Dave & Buster's, Round 1, Time Zone, Archie Bros, Coco Amusements, insert arcade chain here, etc. for one with an arcade locator called Xenius I Vanisher. This website's regularly updated with the locations of many arcades around the world, and as another rule of thumb, if you want to play modern DDR, Round 1 locations in the US are the place with the most recent version of DDR. They also have both white and gold DDR cabs. You could go to a Dave & Buster's, but apparently they ended their contract with Konami, so they're behind by like 2 versions. Then again, I don't really have that problem because Australia, but yeah. If you find an arcade with a machine running DDR Extreme, then you'll still be set with good songs, it's just the cab will be like 22 years old, so do be warned. And now you may also be asking, well, I can't go to the arcade, but I do have thousands of dollars to spend. Well, you're in luck. You can play every arcade song from DDR at home, plus a mountain of custom songs on PC with a program called Stepmania. There's also plenty of DDR hard pads for sale from sellers like Yuancon, Born to Lead, L-Tech, etc. I haven't had any experience on the Yuancon and Born to Lead pads, but I heard they're pretty good though. Talking about these hard pads would be a bit out of scope for this video because this extra segment already like costed the video like an extra 5 minutes or more. So I may talk about this stuff in the future, but for now I feel like it's better to check out some other YouTubers about this info. People like KK Clue, DomeITG, etc. But for now, this is where the story ends for future me. I'll leave it back to pause chunk to finish the video. Anyways, now seems like a good time to end the video. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about my journey from level 10s to level 18s. Oh yeah, and also subscribe and all that stuff. I might do this again in the future. But as always, that's all for today, and I'll see you all sometime soon. Later!